Weavers of One Story by Leah Ongarai. Here we are, together, each facing our different human tasks. Or maybe the same central one, to embrace the lessons that life delivers, to discern and respond as we grow, to refuse harm and cherish flourishing. May we know ourselves as vessels of infinite possibility, holders of each other's heartaches and tales of joy alike, weavers of one story in which we all have our part. And so here we are. Good morning and welcome to Plymouth Unitarians, an inclusive and open-minded spiritual community here in the heart of the city. My name is Gav and I am a frequent attendee of this space. Today's theme is Love Is. And over the next hour, we'll share how this phrase speaks to us. I'll go into the specifics of how that will work in a few moments' time. However, let's go into our first hymn first. It's number 208 in the Purple Book, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. And I love this hymn because it's, for me personally, it's quite an aspirational one. It suggests possibility and offers some hints of direction, and also a few hints of how we might want to be during this hour together. So, hymn number 208.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, yeah, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
It's a nice version, that, isn't it? Bit of a jazzy beat to it. I like it. So time now to explore our theme, chosen by you. In a moment, if you wish, I'll invite you to come to the pulpit and share how the theme speaks to you. You might want to offer a reading, a poem, a story, or a brief reflection, whatever works best for you. If the elevated position of the pulpit isn't your thing, which is entirely understandable, please use the lectern. However, be aware that if you are using the lectern, that the microphone isn't quite as powerful, so be mindful to project your voice. Over the course of our time together, there will be 3 rounds or opportunities to share. I should say, there's no rush. Embrace Devon time. Speak if and when you feel ready. I'll pepper hymns and music between each round. During each of the 3 rounds, there might be some moments of silence between contributions. That's okay. Enjoy it. Those brief moments of stillness are in themselves precious gifts. Use them in whatever way works best for you. Finally, if wishing to share, I invite you to reflect upon Eleanor Roosevelt's famous words: with freedom comes responsibility. So I invite you to take a moment, guided by your own conscience, to discern how you might wish to use this free space well. Let's all do our bit to ensure a safe and nourishing, generative space for all. So I was thinking, shall we have 3 contributions as and when people feel ready, and then we'll take a pause? Thank you for the nods. Thank you, we'll do that. So, the pulpit is yours.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you are all well. Right. I found something very appropriate that speaks to me, and hopefully you might get something out of it as well. It's from the Gospel of the Essenes, which is the unknown book of the Essenes, Lost Scrolls of the Essene Brotherhood, translated from the original Hebrew and Aramaic texts by Edmund Bordeaux Zachary. And what it says about love here is better than I could ever express it. For love is eternal, love is stronger than the currents of deep waters. Love is stronger than death, and if a man hath not love, he doth build a wall between him and all the creatures of the earth, and therein doth he dwell in loneliness and pain. Or he may become as an angry whirlpool, which sucks into its depth all that floats too near. For the heart is a sea with mighty waves, and love and wisdom must temper it, as the warm sun breaks through the clouds and quiets the restless sea. He who hath found peace with his brother hath entered the kingdom of love, and shall see God face to face. And then my own thoughts on love are, love is, in its deepest sense, reveals itself by being sensitive to the feelings and condition of others, our fellow human beings, and extends itself also to animals, plants, and ultimately to all God's creation. Love is the root of human characteristics such as sympathy, empathy, charity, kindness, generosity, forgiveness, devoid of discriminations based on color, race, accent, gender, age, or religious adherence. And Jesus quite aptly said, "Love thy neighbor as thyself. This is the law and the prophets." Thank you for listening.
Mine's about parental love, and I'm actually going to read you a story, children's story, called No Matter What by Debbie Glory. Small was feeling grim and dark. He was playing toss and fling, and bash and crash, break and snap, and bash and batter. Small said, "I'm a grim and grumpy little Small, and nobody loves me at all." "Oh, Small," said Large, "grumpy or not, I'll always love you, no matter what." Small said, "If I was a grizzly bear, would you still love me? Would you still care?" "Of course," said Large, "bear or not, I'll always love you, no matter what." Small said, "But if I turned into a bug, would you still love me and give me a hug?" "Of course," said Large, "bug or not, I'll always love you, no matter what." "No matter what," said Small, and smiled. "What if I was a crocodile?" Large said, "I'd hug you close and hold you tight and tuck you up in bed each night." "Does love wear out?" said Small. "Does it break or bend? Can you fix it, stick it? Does it mend?" "Oh, help," said Large. "I'm not that clever. I just know I'll love you forever." Small said, "But what about when we are dead and gone? Will you love me then? Does love go on?" Large held Small snug as they looked out at the night, at the moon in the dark and the stars shining bright. "Small, look at the stars, how they shine and glow. Some of the stars died a long time ago. Still they shine in the evening skies. For you see, Small, love like starlight never dies." Thank you.
Well, I got a little something I put together some years ago, and I got a poem that I've written recently, especially for today, if you'd like to listen to that too. But I have to tell you right off that I can't sing. But you know, I've been a Unitarian long enough to know that because you can't sing, it doesn't matter. You know, the favourite ingredient of being a Unitarian is to be myself, okay? So that's what I'm doing, and I put it together years ago when I was living in London, and I used to love living in London, and I was in training for a psychiatric nurse, group therapy. I worked in a place called Henderson training, and I missed the sea. So I used to have a cottage down in Minnens, way down in Cornwall, and I used to go down there quite a lot. We used to go down and travel down in our Mini Cooper, and do all the spare time we can down there to see the waves. And that's when I walked the coast bit by bit, you know, the South Coastal Path. And my favourite bit is, and it still is, from Tatajo to Barber. And you sit and you have your rolls, don't you, and all that, and you see the scenery and all that halfway along. And I sat and one day I was looking out to the scenery, saw some fishing boats, and saw the sheep in the fields and all that, and just wrote a few words, okay? And I said to this person I was with, "We're going to sing this when we're old and grey." And well, here it is. And it's called It's called, what do I call it? Evening Tide, okay? No, I'm just a joke. The last boat comes in the harbor at the turning of the tide. The sheep that graze the meadow beneath a pale blue sky. My bills are paid, yeah. My will is made. I've left the stress behind me, yeah. I've done my best. Now I'll live the rest. No longer in the shadow. No longer in the shadow. In this poem that I recently wrote for today, this morning, is called Love Lost Lingers. You are like a morning star that lingers on, a memory that will not fade away. I look into a butterfly wing and see your beauty shine through. I remember I notice your hair moves unevenly with the movement of a chilling wind. Within me was a respectable silence when you talked. Your music playing touched the note in my soul. I can never forget your warmth on a cold night, singing in the rain, and the tears running down our faces while we listened to a blackbird's song. You are there always, my love, in every warm feeling that touches my heart. Thank you.
Shall we take a pause and sing our next hymn, which is 110 in the Purple Hymn Book. Now we sing to praise love's blessing. 110.
Dream
mind us sharing? And if I may, I'd love to share with you the reflections of Steve, our dear Steve. We all know who dear Steve is, don't we? Who supports our tech. And this is Steve's reflections on the topic, love is. And his thoughts are as so. When Gavin told me the theme for this service was love is, I inwardly groaned. 25 years in the job I do has made me extremely skeptical about love, relationships, and marriage. But I like Gavin. He's a good egg, and I wanted to contribute to this service for him. I then suggested the biblical verse often read at weddings from Corinthians, but Gavin told me that Sheila had nabbed that already, so I had to put my thinking cap on. So I came up with something personal from me, and that is my great passion and love for the cinema. Not only do I love watching movies, but the actual experience of going to the cinema. It's an experience I have enjoyed since I was a child. In the 1930s and 40s, cinema was the principal form of popular entertainment, with people often attending twice a week. It's no coincidence that in those Depression and wartime eras, the most popular movies were always the escapist ones, showing beautiful, well-dressed starlets like Betty Davis, Joan Crawford, and Ginger Rogers, dancing with men like Fred Astaire, all leading glamorous and happy lives. Woody Allen even made a movie about this era called The Purple Rose of Cairo. It's about a 1930s Depression-era waitress who goes to the movies to escape her bleak life and abusive marriage. She becomes transfixed with a movie called The Purple Rose of Cairo, and its lead character, a dashingly handsome archaeologist. In the movie, he literally steps off the silver screen and into her life, and both realities are thrown into chaos. It's a beautiful movie with a heartbreaking ending. Britain recorded its highest attendance of the cinema in 1946, with over 31 million visits to the cinema each week. Due to the rise of television, video, and DVDs, audiences dwindled, and by the mid-1980s, cinema attendance had declined to about 1 million per week. Today, most people watch a movie on TV or via subscription service such as Netflix. The cinema is still extremely popular in third world countries, where fewer people have access to TVs or internet streaming services, and, as a result, some of the biggest movie industries in the world are from the poorest countries. India, the most populous nation in the world, with 1.4 billion people, has a huge movie industry called Bollywood. And Nigeria, the sixth most populous nation in the world, and Africa's most populous nation, has a similar large-scale movie industry called Nollywood. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic forced the closure of cinemas worldwide. The global box office collapsed. The Chinese movie industry alone lost $2 billion by March 2020. I remember hearing about the director and film programmer of Plymouth Arts Centre crying as she watched the last movie they could show prior to lockdown in March 2020. She thought they might never reopen. Something I had taken for granted was gone. It's true what they say. You only appreciate someone or something once it's gone. I remember returning to the cinema when they reopened temporarily between August and October 2020, and then again in December 2020, prior to the second and third lockdowns. I watched anything they were showing, just to give the cinema money. There was only a handful of people in the audience, and I felt real despair for the survival and the livelihood of the staff. I deliberately went to movies the night before the lockdown started, as I thought this might be the last opportunity for me to ever watch a movie in a cinema. The cinemas did reopen around mid-2021, and I remember watching all those blockbusters that had been postponed a year earlier, like James Bond's No Time to Die. The cinemas were packed, bums on seats. All was well in the world. Life was normal again. I usually go to the cinema between 1 to 5 times a week, using Cineworld, View and Plymouth Arts Cinema. It survived. There is also a new one in Royal William Yard as well, but I haven't tried that one. I belong to Cineworld's Unlimited plan, and for $10.99 a month, you can go to as many movies as you want. It's the best $10.99 I spend each month, an absolute bargain. It's not just about seeing the movie, it's the experience. I treat myself to an overpriced Starbucks cappuccino and a cake each time I visit. They have a franchise in the cinema. At View, I always buy an extortionately priced scoop or two of ice cream. At the Plymouth Arts Cinema, it's a glass of red wine that normally costs the price of a bottle in the supermarket. No wonder I'm always broke. But it's a treat, and treats are good for your well-being and mental health. I feel my anxiety leave the moment I walk in. I am aware I am fighting a losing battle. Cineworld's American owners are in bankruptcy protection due to losses incurred during the pandemic, and it is just a matter of time before they shut, probably within the next few years. I doubt View will last my lifetime either. Hopefully, Plymouth Arts Cinema will outlive me. They are a specialist cinema showing independent and international movies, and they have a dedicated audience of cinema lovers. I will mourn these cinema closures like a friend, as strange as that might sound. The cinema has been a constant and faithful companion to me for nearly my whole life. I have sought refuge in cinemas from arguing parents, noisy neighbours, unemployment, loneliness, and overwhelming anxiety. The cinema has welcomed me in and said, "You are safe here. Escape with me into another world, even if it's just for a few hours." The Barbie movie craze in the summer of 2023 showed that maybe cinema does have a future. Let's hope it does. So as before, the pulpit is yours. Shall we do what we did last time? A couple more contributions and then a break?
That was a beautiful piece, Steve. Thank you so much. And I'm now going to read the piece which Steve had hoped to read, but I think so much came out of him not reading that, so thank you. This is the reading from Corinthians, which is often read at weddings. I'm reading it from this lectern because the little step I use when I take a service in the pulpit has been tucked away, so you would barely see me over the top. This is what happened to me when I read this piece at my step-granddaughter's wedding up in Bristol nearly 2 years ago. I was very honoured to be invited to speak at her wedding, and I sent her several pieces, and she chose this one. Now, because of a train strike, I couldn't actually get up there for the wedding rehearsal, and so the first time I read this piece was actually at the service, and their pulpit was even higher than ours,
and I could barely see over the top, and I stood on tiptoe, and somebody said, "Where is she?" So that's why I'm here today. They couldn't see me, but by golly, they heard me. So this is from 1 Corinthians 13, and it's from the New Revised Standard Version. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. But as for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we know only in part, and we prophesy only in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. When I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. For now we see in a mirror, dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, and the greatest of these is love.
I've only really read the Bible. I haven't looked at other holy books. So what I'm going to say is sort of my thoughts from reading the Bible, but I think that all other belief systems have the same roots. At the beginning of the Bible, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." This being our universe. So the universe and all that is in it, including human life, is created by God. At the end of the Bible, it says that God is love. God is love. Not that God loves, or that God exudes love, or that God gives love, but God is love. That is what God is. God is not a father. God is not a king, or an old man in the sky with a beard and lots of rules. But God is actually love, love itself. Love is a force. Love is an emotion, a feeling, a thought, a spirit. Love is power. It's more powerful than we can imagine. Love is so powerful, it created everything we know, because in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and God is love. So, in the beginning, love created the heavens and the earth. Our entire universe is made from love. the heavens and the earth and everything in it, including you, is made out of love. If God is the creator of life, then love is the creator of life. If a man loves a woman, if a wife loves her husband, children are born. They're made from love. Love creates life, and that is what a God does. God simply is love. This force, this power that made everything and governs the universe is love. Not an image or a deity, but the most amazing, most powerful force known to man. Perfect love casts out fear. Jesus said that to enter the kingdom you must be born again, born of man and also born of God. The Bible says that if we say we know God but we don't love, then we are liars, because God is love. And he that loveth is born of God. You can only enter the kingdom by being born again, and he that loveth is born of God, because God is love. There is no greater power. The ultimate creator, the creator of the heavens, the creator of life, is love itself.
So I've got another piece which has been suggested by Joan, who joins us on Zoom. Hi Joan, hi Zoomers. And it's a piece by Rumi, and it's entitled The Meaning of Love. And it goes like so. Both light and shadow are the dance of love. Love has no cause. It is the astolerable of God's secrets. Lover and loving are inseparable and timeless. Although I may try to describe love, when I experience it, I am speechless. Although I may try to write about love, I am rendered helpless. My pen breaks and the paper slips away at the ineffable place where lover, loving, and loved are one. Every moment is made glorious by the light of love. Shall we take a pause? Yeah. So this is a musical interlude of sorts, and it's called Our World. Hope you enjoy. So we'll now enter our third and final round of sharing. And if I may, I'd like to share with you a contribution which was forwarded by Nick, who sometimes joins us from Zoom. And it's a piece by Sir Walter Scott. And it goes like so. And said I that my limbs were old, and said I that my blood was cold, and that my kindly fire was fled, and that my poor withered heart was dead, and that I might not sing of love. How could I to the dearest theme that ever warmed a minstrel's dream, so foul, so false, a recreant prove? How could I name love's very name, nor wake my heart to notes of flame? In peace, love tunes the shepherd's reed. In war, he mounts the warrior's steed. In halls, in gay attire is seen. In hamlets, in dances on the green, love rules the court, the camp, the grove, and men below and saints above. For love is heaven, and heaven is love. So as before, I invite you, if and when you wish, to come to the pulpit and share any remaining contributions you would like to make. This is our final round, and we'll just go until people are ready. Happy enough? Yeah?
Hello everybody. I have a poem. I left the poetry book at home. Here it is. And I've been so inspired. This is, and I've looked at my contribution, which covers parental love. It covers what you want best for the world, what you're feeling of being a part of a world that works on love, and it's an expression of that. It's Samuel Taylor Coleridge, a poet. He was born up the road from an Anglican vicar down in Ottery St Mary, and he was sent away at 8 years old to school and into the city, and came back to nature later in his life when he could choose. And this is Coleridge babysitting at home at night with his little one right next to him, and he's fallen into a deep slumber, a deep thoughts about how he wants his babe to grow up in a world of love and connection with nature. Dear babe, thou sleepest cradled by my side, whose gentle breathings heard in this deep calm fill up the interspersed vacancies and momentary pauses of thought. My babe, so beautiful it thrills my heart with tender gladness thus to look at thee, and think that thou shalt learn far other lore and in far other scenes than me. For I was reared in the great city, pent mid cloisters dim, and saw naught lovely but the sky and stars. But thou, my babe, thou shalt wander like a breeze by lakes and sandy shores, beneath the crags of ancient mountains, and beneath the clouds, which image in their bulk both lakes and shores and mountain crags. So shalt thou see and hear the lovely shapes and sounds, intelligible, of that eternal language which thy God utters, who from eternity does teach himself in all, and all things in himself. Great universal teacher, he shall mould thy spirit, and by giving make it ask. Therefore all seasons shall be sweet to thee. Whether the summer clothe the general earth with greenness, or the redbreast sit and sing beside the tufts of snow on the bare branch of the mossy apple tree, while the nigh thatch smokes in the sun thaw. Whether the eavesdrops heard only in the trances of the blast, or if in the secret ministry of frost shall hang them up in silent icicles, quietly shining to the quiet moon. The ministry of nature and love.
Sorry to lower the tone a bit, but I heard this little story some while back at a church in Cornwall, so I thought it might be suitable for this church in Plymouth. There was this lovely old lady who very sadly died, and she went to heaven, and she arrived at the pearly gates, and there was St. Peter waiting for her. And St. Peter said, "You can't come in here unless you can spell a word." "Oh," she said, "I'm not very good at spelling." "What's the word?" "You've got to spell love." Love, she says. "That's right, you can come in." He opens the gates, and she enters heaven. A few years later, her former husband dies whilst on a world cruise, and he arrives at the pearly gates, and there's St. Peter, and his former wife is there as well. And she says to him, "And what have you been doing these last few years?" And he said, "Well, you remember that carer you had when you were so terribly ill before you died? Well, we got together and we got married, and that's when I was on the World Cruise." "Oh," she said, "and what happened to our dog, a lovely dog?" "Oh, we got rid of that and sent it to a rescue centre." "Oh," she said, "and what about our lovely home? I loved our home. It was such a lovely place." "Oh, we sold that, and actually that helped pay for the World Cruise I was on when I died." "Anyway, open these gates and let me in," he says. And before St. Peter could say anything, she said, "You can't come in unless you spell a word." "Oh," he said, "what's the word?" "Czechoslovakia," she said.
Anybody else? I should say, what a way to finish. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to those who offered contributions. And thank you to everyone else for holding the space in order for those contributions to be aired. I'm sort of always sitting with those opening words and that analogy. And I'm leaving this space with a vibrant tapestry. We talked about the tapestry in the opening words. And I feel like I have a very vibrant, rich tapestry as a result of those threads that each one of you have provided today. And I'm very grateful for that. So thank you. Our closing words. May all our hours together be blessed as this one has been, by open-hearted sharing and learning from one another. And may we greet everyone we encounter with the same acceptance and grateful kinship until we meet again. Blessed be.